I'm Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves supporter Mr. Liam Keane. I mean, we thought it was bad. We didn't think it was going to be that bad. Wolves 0, Leicester 4. That's as low as I've seen Wolves for 6-7 years of covering this football club. Absolutely devastating afternoon for the team.
Embarrassing. Totally embarrassing. There's no other way to put it. Wolves had a fairly bright start to the first half, and a Youri Tielemans worldie has derailed that. But you have to have enough about you as men and as footballers to come back and do more than what they showed. I thought Wolves showed absolute apathy on the pitch. Too many players, frankly, didn't show like they actually cared, if I'm honest with you. There's a handful I could pick out that I thought really tried, and there's a couple that were just so lazy.
Oh, they've sacked it off, mate. They have sacked it off. They do not give a damn about this football club.
And it was really, really, really poor to see. And that's the only way I can sum it up. Look, they got carved open for the second one. Johnny slipped, which is slightly unfortunate, but equally he was heavily involved in Wolves going 1-0 down. And from there, they had an okay start to the second half, but nowhere near enough to actually create something meaningful. Not enough movement in the box, not enough urgency and intensity to get the ball out wide and actually get the ball in. So poor. And Leicester sauntered, frankly, to 4-0. Leicester weren't bad today, but they weren't 4-0 amazing. But they absolutely sauntered to 4-0. They didn't even have to get out first gear, how many times have we said that this season? Ridiculous.
It's the scoreline, like you say, Liam. It's the manner of the defeat. It's a capitulation.
Yeah.
It really is. And this Wolverhampton Wanderers side are going down. They're getting relegated to the Championship unless they can find something. And this isn't just one or two tweaks. This is a complete overhaul in professionalism, in mentality, in ability. And as it stands at this moment in time, I mean, look, they've been beaten by a side that have not won an away game all season, but one of the two sides that started below them in the Premier League this season. Now there's only one, and that's just on 2 goals goal difference. There's so many issues off the pitch, on the pitch, that I can't see an answer at this moment in time. They've made a statement. They're keeping with Steve Davis now until 2023. As it stands, they've gone back and forth with changing their minds. For me, I don't think that they can wait until 2023. They can't wait the best part of 2.5 months to make a change in a managerial change after sacking your manager, and think that they are still going to be with a small chance of staying in this division, because they could be adrift by then.
Wolves are currently sleepwalking towards relegation, aren't they? There's almost a sense of disbelief amongst the players, even amongst the squad, amongst the staff, that Wolves are in this position. But they're in this position for a reason, and that's because they're not getting results and they're not performing. It's as simple as that. It's so easy to describe. It wouldn't surprise me if there was potential for a U-turn on the Davis situation. There's only so long you can leave it now. There's 3 more league games to go until the World Cup break. If anyone comes in before then, do you give them enough time to make a difference? Probably not. That's the only thing I think that would stop it. But after today, there's got to be some sort of reaction, whether that's from hierarchy or whether that's from the players.
When you say reaction from the hierarchy or the players, does someone need to come out and talk? I mean, I don't know what they can
so,
quite.
Yeah. I really do.
It's toxic there today. Look, Scott Sellers has got a lot of chance today.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? I mean, look, I guess the anger's been brewing for a long time. I guess it wasn't a shock to hear the angst of supporters. What did you make of that in the situation?
Yeah, no surprise to know that there were chants in general, but then also that they were directed at Scott, particularly after the last few days. Well, I would say a few days, weeks, months, to be honest. Fans have latched onto him as the person to blame, and of course, decisions and the way Wolves are run and everything that's gone wrong in the last few months, of course he's going to come under criticism. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We criticise people every day in our job. Fans have an absolute right to criticise people, and I've got no complaints whatsoever with that. It's their club, and they have to criticise when they feel necessary. I do think that Scott isn't really alone in this, and he doesn't make all the final decisions. And him being solely targeted is perhaps a little bit harsh. But equally, Wolves fans have got to make their voice heard. At the moment, their club that they love is sleepwalking towards relegation. If nothing turns around, they have to make a change. Something's got to change. Someone's got to give.
Look, Brentford away next weekend, followed by Brighton at home, and then they'll finish off with Arsenal at home in the league, that is. I can't see where a point is coming from, let alone 3 at this moment in time. I don't know. I think that's the worrying thing, is that I can't see this team turning things around as it stands at this moment in time. What can they do? Because these players are not only going to take this team down and the managerial situation, but they're going to take a lot of jobs down with them if this carries on. It's such a shame. It's sad, and there needs to be. I don't know. I'm lost for words, really. I'm lost for words. And speaking to the fans outside after this game, they are so angry. They're so angry. It was silence walking out of that ground today, and I don't think I've heard that even with a defeat before. But there's almost like an inevitability about this team going down at this moment in time, and that's astonishing, really, when you think going back to the summer they spent £100 million plus on players, that it's happened.
Exactly, and the example I can give of, you're trying to find, fresh impetus, fresh ideas, the solutions to what's going wrong at the moment. I'll use an example, and look, I don't want to always call out the same players, but I've got to make this clear again. Nelson Semedo had a terrible second half at Palace, was dropped today, and Johnny came in, who was very poor for weeks. Johnny comes in, the first 2 goals arguably his fault. You've got one player coming out because they have a poor second half, another player coming in who doesn't deserve to start next week. Who do you play in that specific position, in that very specific example I've just given? And I could give examples across the board, frankly. Wolves have not got many, and look, people will take the mick when we use the word solutions, obviously we're after the Nuno era, but that's the only word I can think of, and that Wolves haven't got enough solutions in different areas. And where do you go? It's really, you bring Hugo Bueno in, he was probably one of the few shining lights again today. He wasn't quite as good as he was at Palace, but I thought he made it, he had a decent showing. Him and Chem Campbell, when he came on, 2 young lads who showed a bit of bottle and went over and approached the fans afterwards, and the fans gave them appreciation back. Neves did it, James Collins did it, Nathan Collins did it, I made your mistake. Steve Davis did it as well, obviously the head coach at the moment.
I wasn't in, did a lot of them go straight down there, did they?
Apart from those names I just mentioned, everyone else walked down the tunnel.
Really?
And it was a similar at West Ham, and I called it out then, and I'll call it out again now. That's not good enough in itself. The players have got to show more than that, far more than that. I think it's embarrassing.
Some of these guys are on 6-figure sums a week. The least they can do is go and, I'm not going to say applaud the fan, go and apologise to them for that kind of a display. Which
Collins did, to be fair to him. He, as well as clapping the South Bank, he also raised his hand several times to say sorry. I think he's shown that since he's been at the club, that he's got the bottle to do that. Neves, as the skipper and as one of Wolves' best ever players, has always done that, and you've got nothing but respect for that. Yeah. Class is the right word. 2 young lads go and do that, who have only been in the team really this year. And there's professionals there with 100+ appearances, international appearances, who walk down the tunnel.
In the middle of a cost of living crisis in Wolverhampton, and people are paying, massive
really
money to get themselves kitted out, to bring their families to come and watch this, for a bit of an escapism. And look, I know that you're not guaranteed a win or a draw, but there is certain parts of a professional footballer that should acknowledge that. I don't care whether you're in tune with the city or you're not, that you owe it to them to go and show that, and it's disgusting.
I couldn't agree more. And I do think the players care more than they're showing. I know at the top of this video we've spoken about a lack of desire of fighting and really giving a damn today from what we've seen, but I do think a lot of the players care a lot more than they're showing. Nelson Semedo, again, I'll talk about the Palace one briefly, where Zaha goes through and scores and he is barely even running to get back and defend. There was a moment Johnny did that today. I wanted to pull my hair out watching it. It's unbelievable. And those 2 players specifically, and others that I've called out in the last few weeks, they care more about football, their careers, Wolves, than they're currently showing. But why are they not showing it? That's the question. Confidence is so low. That's a major part in it. Are they confident in what they're being asked to do? You have to ask that question. As soon as they go a goal down, Wolves cannot get back into a game, so their heads drop instantly. These are all things working against them. You've got to show more than that. You've got to show a bit of bottle, a bit of fight. Max Kilman, who I think is an excellent footballer, who's done very well for Wolves, had probably his worst game in a Wolves shirt today. And I can name others. It's just not good enough.
Wolves 0, Leicester 4. For all the post-match reaction, make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.